Welcome to the screen share session. This is Tim Gilderdale here from Implied Volatility and Reach Markets. Our first step, of course, is a quick general advice warning. So any advice contained within this presentation is general advice and does not consider your objectives, financial situation or needs, and you should consider whether it's appropriate to you. And of course, past performance is not an indicator of future returns. So first of all, we'll start on our home screen here. So the mouse might be a little bit small, but bear with me. I'll try to be as specific as possible when discussing the platform. On the full version of the platform, we'll have under this section here our quant-tested iron condor trade ideas. It's on the lower right-hand side, and we can see that we have one flagged here today. If you are looking to place an iron condor trade, which is above 70 points, you can click on the place trade button on the far right of the screen where my mouse is, big green button, and it will come up with the tailor-made combination ready to go. So we'll be fixing up this tailor-made combination usually around 10:20 to 10:30 with the tailor-made combination code to be entered into the market once the market makers start bidding. All right, from here, we'll jump over to along the orange strip along the top of the page. Our first option here is the strategy builder. So we'll jump into here. And this is where we'll be able to start placing a trade. So the first step is to put in a stock code. Let's start, for example, with XJO. Or if you wanted to, you can always have a look through the stock screener, which is the big bullseye button just to the right here, where my mouse is circling at the top of the page. And you can sort by name, by stock code, by price change percentage along the top here. Something called IV rank, which I'll run into in a moment. And you can also sort by volatility or liquidity. So with each one of these little cards, you'll have the stock code at the front, the current value of that index or stock, and then you'll have here the price change as a percentage, and then the units just to the right of that on XJO where my mouse is, and then below you'll have implied volatility, which for XJO is currently at 10.101%. This thumbs up refers to the market maker coverage, so it's a signal for, it will tell you if the stock is quite liquid, and the more liquid the stock, then the lower the spread will be for entering and exiting a position. IV rank here is a measure of volatility for a particular stock when compared to itself. So let's say with Altium here, implied volatility is at 33.74% on its own. It's interesting, but it's not that interesting. You want to see where it compares to how it has been historically. So the IV rank will rank it from 1 to 100 based on volatility on where it has been over the last 52 weeks. The higher this IV rank, the more volatile the stock is at the moment. And with Altium, the reason why this was brought up by our trade scanner this morning for an iron condor trade is because its volatility is high compared to its past 52 weeks. And it has also met a series of other quant-tested factors as well. So once we know what we want to enter into, let's say XJO, we can click View in Strategy Builder, and then from here we can go to the Options Cookbook to select which strategy we want to select. I'll keep it simple for the purposes of this session, so I'm just going to select the first one here, the long call. You can see here it's got a quick overview of the strategy. So overview right here, it says buy one at the money call. It's got the payoff diagram. It's also got the symbol for a bull's head. It's quite bullish, a green bull. And you will benefit if volatility goes up. It's got a green arrow. And then it's got a red watch saying that time decay will work against you. If you want to learn a little bit more about the strategy, you can click on the Learn More button here, and it will give you a bit more detailed information for each of the strategies. So there's quite a few strategies that you can select through here at the click of a button, and the platform will automatically pre-populate the legs for these strategies. So once you want to select a strategy, you put your mouse over it, a green plus button will appear. You can click on that green plus button, and then you can select your expiry date and your exercise style. I'll just keep this the way it is for now, and then click on this blue button just below which says Create Strategy. So on the top right hand side of this page we'll see the current index or stocks value and its IV rank, and you'll also have a payoff diagram. If you put your mouse over the payoff diagram, you can see what the value of the of your options position will be given a range of dates. So the dates that we have selected here along the top. And that will be based on the price of the underlying at the bottom, and it will show you what the payoff will be along the y-axis on the left. Let's say, for example, if the index was to get to 7,062, then if you held this options position on today, November 27th, you'd be looking at $2,079 of value in that position. When would it be? 2 weeks from now, December 8th, you'd be looking at 2,042 as the value, and then the next expiry date on December 19th, you'd be looking at 2,037 as the value for this position. We'll have a quick chart to have a look at here, which you can scroll through. 5-year, 1 year, 3 month, 1 month, 5 days, 3 days, and so on. So it's not much detail in the chart. There is a bit more information in this chart section along the top here where it says charting on the orange strip. I'll go into that in a bit more detail in a short moment. You can also have a quick look at the volatility for this particular underlying stock or index as well. This is the implied volatility. All right, along the bottom here, this is the strategy that we're currently building. So first thing we have here is the quantity. I might increase this quantity to something a bit more substantial. Let's say 10 units of calls on the XJO. So we've got the stock code here. We've got the shares per contract listed next, and my mouse is circling. And then we have the implied volatility for this particular option in the options chain. And then we have the strike listed here. We've got a strike of 6,800 for this one with an expiry of the 19th of December 2019. Now we can change the strikes just by clicking the arrows on the side. It will change the stock code because it will be a different option. We can also change the expiry as well, which will also change the code for this option. Once we've found the one that we are content with using, we'll go over to the next section here. I'll just keep it as it was. We'll have the type of option. So with an index, it's always going to be a European type option. It is cash settled, but with stocks, you can also have a American option. You can usually tell just by the by cycling through the strike price whether it will be a European or an American option. Got the delta listed next, and then the theoretical pricing that the platform has calculated this particular position to be valued at, and then the overall premium to enter into this position. If you are looking for more options to more details to see on this screen, you can click the 3 lines on the left here, and there are a few more of the Greeks available through here, but I'll leave that up to you. That's just to the far left of this part of the screen, the lower left. When we're ready to place a trade, we'll have a look at our maximum profit, our maximum loss, our buying power, and our break-even point. And if everything looks good, we can click on this big red Execute Strategy button. So we'll have the bid and the offer, and then the ETR range. So we've always got to be putting in a trade between these ETRs. It's currently 61 and 75. And you can make changes to your strategy here, change it to 100, or just keep it at 10. You can also change the limit price that we're willing to pay for this position, or that we're willing to receive if it was a negative, as in we were selling an option. We can just select the midpoint, and it will just put it right in the middle of these two bid and offer spreads. You can see the theoretical price right here below as well at 68. So we can click next, and then we will have a quick summary of this position. So I'll have the premium value, which is just the same as we saw earlier. And we'll have the total cost, the buying power before trade, and then we can have a look at the brokerage and fees that are involved. So this is the brokerage, the $24.95 at the top here, and then the ASX fees included at the bottom. There is a little warning here. The market has best liquidity after 10:20. All orders a day only. The liquidity warning refers to when market makers start to quote in the market. But we'll put this in the market anyway. So now this order has been placed. We can have a look under the Orders tab, and we can manage our order in here. We can see all the details here. We can see the market here, where the buyers and sellers are. And if we are quite keen to get this to meet the market, we can then start looking at increasing the price for this particular position. Just by clicking on the pencil, you can tick it up, or you can tick it down. And once the order has been executed, it will appear under the Field Orders section here, with all the details to follow. Once you've got an order executed, you can then have a look at your portfolio along the orange strip along the top of the page. It's just to the right of Strategy Builder. It says My Portfolio. And then you'll be able to see everything that you hold currently. So first of all, we have AWC, which has been performing quite well. The underlying value is at $2.34. Got the premium margin. This is how much this position is worth at the moment to either enter or exit into the position, to buy or sell into the position. And then we have a range of Greeks here. We have the opening price, and then the current theoretical price, the profit and loss for the position overall, and then the profit and loss today from this position. If you want more columns, you can put in more columns by clicking on the far right up here, the column section. There are a few extra Greeks and a few other measures available for you there as well. And then below here we have an overall view of your portfolio, account cash, with a question mark to the right of those words. And then here you can see your cash management trust account balance, and then your clearinghouse ledger and any unsettled transactions and the value of those unsettled transactions. You can also have a look at the options premium that you have paid, the total margin requirement that you have on your portfolio, total value of any equities that you hold, and your buying power, which is basically account cash minus margin, and the overall net liquidation value for your portfolio. To the right here we have a payoff diagram, and you'll be able to have a look at all securities, individual securities, and a range of expiries. It's quite a few options to choose here. But we'll jump over to the far right, where you can have a look at your margin requirements and how different stocks are affecting your total margin, span margins, premium margins, and something called intercommodity for securities as well. You can also have a look at how the Greeks are on your portfolio, but I'll leave that up for you to search through yourself. You can also have a look over here at the Performance tab. So this is where you can have a look at the transactions that you put through on your account and how your account has performed over time. You can also use this section here to export all the trades that you have entered into and have had executed by clicking on the export button. It will download a CSV spreadsheet which you can look at through Excel. We'll jump over to charting now along the top of the page here, along the orange strip. And we'll have a look at, let's say, for example, the XJO. Maybe something a little bit different. Let's have a look at something a bit more interesting like Westpac. Get a fresh, clean slate here. So the first thing you have here is the stock code. This is where we type in any range of any stock. Usually looking at optionable stocks, but you can have a look at a few indices and indexes and that sort of things as well. Next to the right of that, you'll have the time frame that you're looking at. 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, 4 hours, 1 hour, etc. You can also change the time frame that you're looking at on the lower right hand side over here as well. So you have 1 year, 5 years, year to date, 6 months, 3 months, and so on. Navigating through this section will change the period that you're looking at up here. You can change the way that you look at the charting as well. So you can have a look at a line chart. You could change it to an area chart, a colored bar chart, for example, or just a candle chart. For the sake of this session, I'll keep it on candle, but there is a wide range of options in there. You can also compare to other stocks. Let's say compare to NAB. And from wherever this begins all the way on the far left, that will be a measure of how much these stocks have diverged on the right in percentage terms. If you want to clear that out, you can just click the X button and it will go back to just seeing a stock with a dollar value on the right hand side. You can also have a look at some studies. So you can click on the studies section here, click to add study. And here we have a long list of charts as well as overlay studies. So what we're usually looking for is a moving average. This one here, we'll start with a 50-day and then add in a 200-day. You can also type in the name of the study you're looking for and it will narrow it down for you. We click on the 50-day moving average. We'll keep the period at 50. We'll keep that color as red. And I'll keep it as a simple moving average for the sake of this session. And then we can see this red line as the 50-day moving average along the top of our chart. We can add in another one. This time I will do a moving average, 200-day moving average, and I will change the color by clicking on the red and changing it to blue. And then click on the complete button at the bottom of the study page. And now we have the blue 200-day moving average there as well. You can add in some extra studies. Let's have a look at ADX, Average Directional Index. This is something that we use for our lit trades and our iron condor trades. So we'll keep the periods the same for the sake of this session. What I'm usually looking at is just the ADX value itself. I'm not usually looking at positive or negative measures of this study, so I will change both of these to white just to clear out the distorting colours. And then I'll click on the complete button at the bottom of the page. Now we have the ADX along the bottom of the page here. With our trades, we're usually looking at below 20 being no sign of directional bias, and above 20 showing a hint of directional bias in stock price movements. I did another study, of course, implied volatility. If we want to resize these charts, we can just select this double line in the middle here and just pull them down slightly. Now we'll have a look at the options we have on the left. So on the far left side here we have a series of a section called lines with an arrow next to it. We'll have a series of different lines that we can select. I'll look at horizontal to start with. First thing I'll do is put in some horizontal trend lines, technical lines. Just as an example, I won't go into too much effort with these. And you can also put them on your studies at the bottom here as well. So I'll put one on 20 ADX at the bottom of the page. So we can see clearly when it's above or below that measure. We're looking for a trend line. We can just select line and we can draw our own trend lines. And there's a range of other lines that you can choose to select as well. I'll let you explore those in your own time. You can also choose some channels if you're looking for some more advanced technical charting methods, and a range of different measures as well. You can put in notes as well, some annotations, and you can also do some measurements with freeform charting, which will appear throughout the chart as you put it down. You can change the way this is laid out as well. There's a few different ways to lay out these charts. For the most part, I'll let you explore those yourself as well. Westpac on the left, NAB on the right. That's basically charting there. If you do want to get rid of the numbers that are appearing here along the top left, you can click on Chart Detail and it will remove those details there. You can also resize the graph on the right by dragging down to make smaller or dragging up to make it bigger. I'll give you a quick run through of the backtesting portal. So we'll start with the stock code, let's say XJO, initial balance 50,000, starting date, let's say, go back to the beginning of the year. Let's say 7th of January. And for the sake of this session, I will keep this simple as well. We can go to, I'll jump back a second here. So this is our simulation. So we've got a trade date on the top here, 7th of the 1st, 2019. And then the first thing we do here is select from the option cookbook what we want to have involved in this trade. I'll just select long call again. It'll be the same as selecting a long call on the strategy builder through the options cookbook. And I'll set the expiry date perhaps as April, 101 days away. And I'll click on the Create Strategy button, big blue button, and then I'll put in the quantity that we are looking to trade. All right, let's say, for example, 30 units, an open price that we can determine just by typing in. Open price 149.8, theoretical price was at 147.2 on that day, the 7th of January at the close. And if we want to put on more legs, we can put on more legs by going through the options cookbook, but we'll keep this simple. So now that we've got our payoff diagram on the left, we will have a chart on the right. We can just tick one day. Looks like the chart hasn't come through for this one. Usually there is a XJO chart on the far right here. We can tick one day at a time to see how the portfolio has changed. So profit and loss on the left axis and then time on the lower axis. So we tick by one day at a time, you'll see the effect on the overall portfolio. If you want to skip to the next expiry date, you can fast forward to the next expiry date, and then to the next expiry date, and then to the next expiry date. After which, after the expiry, there will be no effect on your portfolio and the line will just become flat. There won't be any change. So you can play around, you can do whatever you like in here in terms of strategy. There is usually a chart here where you can run along with technical indicators, and I'm not sure why that hasn't popped up today, but it will probably pop up on your end. Sometimes this computer can be a bit slow loading things. And from here we'll go to the orders tab again on the far upper right hand side of the page. And now we can see that our order has been filled, and it will just appear under the filled orders section. And if you're looking for further education, there is an education portal on the upper right hand side of the page here as well. Perfect. If there's no questions, I'll let you get back to your day and I'll call this session to a halt. I've got a note here, a question came through, is it the same for paper trading? It is exactly the same for paper trading. So when you're looking at your paper trading portfolio, you'll have a TF account number. When you have a real account, you'll have a drop down here and you can select an account that begins with the letter N, and it is exactly the same for paper trading and trading on a live account. So I've got a question here, what does LIT stand for? It stands for Leading Indicator Trend Trading. What we're looking at with a LIT trade is significant buying pressure in the market, which would preempt a breakout trade. If you want to have a chat more about LIT, you can give me a call. I'll be able to run you through the details of it. It is beyond the scope of this session, but feel free to give me a call, 0380805795. Got another question here. Can you show me how to close a long call? Certainly. So we've got our XJO long call here. What you can do is just click on it, on the leg you're looking to close, and then select close selected. And what it will do is create the trade that will be the opposing trade to this position. So they will cancel each other out. When you're ready to place the trade, sorry, I'll go one step backwards. It will also give you a quick what if and show you how this will affect your overall portfolio. So how it will affect your cash, your options premium, the buying power, and your net liquidation value. You can see it's dropping by the transaction costs. You can click on the green trade button at the bottom of the screen and it will come back through to this familiar screen where we are selling 10 units at a limit of 72, and then we can just place the order as usual into the market. So I've got a question here from Mark Bull. Why does ASX have American and European options? So an American option, the way I remember it is that with an American option you have the freedom to exercise your rights at any time before expiry, whereas a European option you can only exercise on expiry. So the ASX itself is the Australian Stock Exchange. This is a private company or a public traded company. It is a company that facilitates all the trades that go through the ASX. It is itself also listed on the ASX. So it has American and European options available because it can really, that they are allowable to trade on the ASX and the Aussie market. Well, I'll call this session to a halt, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any further questions, feel free to send them through the message box or give me a call, and I'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for participating. We'll speak soon.